Luke Schumann, owner of Hazzard Fab Worx in Spokane, Washington. We're a custom four-wheel drive and off-road shop. We build everything from trucks and Jeeps to custom Ultra 4 cars and everything in between. Our kind of motto is we'll pull your weeds if you pay our rate. And this is kind of a different but cool JK. How we like to build a JK, the difference in this one is it's right-hand drive, which in a lot of cases doesn't make much difference other than you're on the wrong side of the road when you're driving. But when it comes to packaging a long travel, strong and nimble suspension, there are some definite challenges that go with that. This Jeep in particular, it's a 2008 right-hand drive two-door Jeep Wrangler with supercharged 3.8. It's got a RIP supercharger on it, which definitely makes a big difference, helps out a lot. Poison spider body armor, rock sliders, rear bumper. Up front we put a Warren winch, rigid light bar, truck light LEDs. From there we get to the stuff that I think is more interesting, what actually makes this Jeep work and drive as good as it does. What we have is we have a progressive coil spring and a King bypass shocks. What we're doing there is adding progression into the suspension with the spring rate as well as the shock valving, which makes an incredible difference. Makes it ride really supple and nice on the street. It also makes it so when you're on the trail you can go over big bumps and big holes and not blow right through the suspension and into the bump stops. From there we have so it's got the Spicer Crate Dana 60s in it. Well, they never made those that work with a right-hand drive Jeep. Not all of your suspension geometry, but all your steering and track bar geometry is backwards. Doesn't sound like that big of a deal, but they built the JK around a certain way, and this one's backwards. So high steer arm had to be custom machined. Knuckle had to be custom machined to make that and keep exact perfect geometry. Track bar bracket has to be custom, and there's no room to put a track bar bracket because there's a diff in the way. It's just very tight, lots of time spent to make this one work right. Components we use in a typical JK build for us to someone of this level are basically the same. It's got a Synergy suspension, heat treated chromoly long arm on it. It's got their heat treated chromoly steering on it. It's got PSC, their complete kit, but being as it's a right-hand drive, is a different steering box, but it is their hydro assist kit. Works very, very well. The diffs have 538 gears. The nice thing about the Spicer diffs is you get a huge U-joint when you do that. You get a very strong housing that's still high clearance, but the difference between them and a lot of other companies is you also get a big brake upgrade. So with this one you do a bigger brake master cylinder and booster, and then you also get huge brakes with it. So when you're putting 40-inch Nitto tires on something, it really makes a difference to be able to stop them. On that note, then we're into, it's got a 40-inch Trail Grappler on it. It's got Raceline Monster bead locks. Work very, very well. We drive this thing on the street. It drives absolutely perfect. We wheel it, air it down, runs great, air it back up, drive it home. Works very, very well. A big thing that we did different on this, being as it's two doors, we did a stretch on the rear. So it's got about a 4-inch stretch. The fenders are made for it, and then all the links were custom made longer, but that makes kind of a problem when it comes to shock and coil spring packaging. So this thing has about 2.5 inches of lift, but it runs a 5.5-inch rear coil because of the fact that it's leveraged in front of the axle. It's got a rock hard bolt-in cage, which works out pretty nice. This one's got a stereo and some other stuff in it. Nothing too crazy, just a nice comfortable Jeep you can drive on the road, put your family in it, AC, cruise control, everything works. That's kind of the plan, is go wheel it hard, drive it down the road, be comfortable.